We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hassani.
And I'm Lakeisha Hines.
And we're joining you this morning. We're virtually connected. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. Lakeisha is in Tampa, Florida. And we're connecting with you. We want to know where you're dialing in from. So whatever city, state, or country you may be in, let us know. In the meantime, what we want you to do is boom, subscribe, like, and share. Let's help build this community and take it to another level. You are a part of this. When you click share, you're voting for us. Would you like to vote for us? Can we be your marriage president? Can we be your marriage counsel so that we can help change couples around the world? Listen, we have been in a topic this week talking about basically the complaints of unhappy wives, the complaints of unhappy husbands. And so we want to put a final cap on this today by talking about the topic from partner complaints to permanent change. It's not just enough to hear these complaints and do nothing about it. You're not complaining for your partner to stay the same. You want changes. But what we want to do is, rather than you focusing on the changes that your spouse needs to make, focus on yourself.
Yes.
Get yourself together. You feel what I'm saying? So that's what we're talking about today. I will say, I want to make this comment. This just came in from Cali Power Couple. Good morning. Couples Academy Ask the Experts Live was extremely helpful for us last night. Thank you and Jeff. And again, Hassani, Couples Academy is and always will be an essential for us. It was amazing. Lakeisha, I wish you were there. We was just, I don't know what happened, but something got into Jeff and something got into me. We went from 30 minutes to an hour and we was just tagging them. We was just like, pow, pow, pow. We was giving them what they need. And we were dealing with things in a real way, because sometimes we just need the real talk, the real conversation.
Right.
And that's what we had last night. But listen, before we jump in, just a couple quick announcements. Last Chance Weekend coming up, February the 11th through the 13th. Also, the Foundry and Unearthed program has started on Wednesday. For you men who are out there, we've had 2 men sign up since Wednesday, and we're willing to take more in until we get to the second session. So wives, it's not too late for you to get your husbands to get up in this program. And husbands, you know what it is. You know what you need. Stop fronting. Stop delaying. Stop procrastinating. Make it happen, because 12 weeks of your life, 3 months, come on, we're talking about somewhere around 84 days or something, will help to shift and change the direction of your life from this point forward. So let's get it, and let's go. Lakeisha, anything you want to say to the people before we jump in?
I just want to say good morning. Good morning. I want to give some shout outs. Can I do that?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, hey, Nina. She actually said hey to me. So hey to you. Hey, Cali Power Couple. Thanks for that comment last night. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Daryl. Hey, Miss Jules Smith. That's a regular, Hassani.
That's right.
Gonzalez. Hey there. Hey, Jackie. Hey, Derek. LaShawn. Fidelina, also a regular. Hey, Nelly. Thank you guys for joining us this morning. Looking forward to getting your questions. Put them in, put them in.
That's right. And for all those of you who are watching us on a replay, we appreciate you as well. We want to acknowledge you for your commitment to watch these videos. But we're going to dive right into the conversation. We're talking about from partner complaints to permanent change. How do we begin to change? Change is one of those things that many of us struggle with. We know we should do it. We want to do it, but we just don't know how. We become overwhelmed with all of the stuff that we really realize is wrong with us, and we don't know what to do. So we're going to break this down one by one. Number 1, change only one thing at a time. Both Lakeisha and I will be weighing in on these, but let me just get this started. When you think about a pie, you ever purchase a pizza pie? It's probably got 8 slices. You can't devour that thing all in one bite. You have to eat one slice at a time. So we're talking about focus. You got to focus. Focus is an acronym, which simply means to follow one course until successful. So one of the things that we do in our sessions when we're working with couples, we guide them through something called issue pie, where your spouse, as well as you, get an opportunity to identify all of the issues, all of the complaints that you have with your spouse. Then it is prioritized in order of importance. What is the most pressing issue that needs to be addressed and resolved right now? That becomes the slice that you deal with first. And once you change and overcome that, then you go to number 2. And so doing it that way is helpful. When you attempt to change everything all at once, your efforts are divided and you get fewer results than if you were to zone in and have focus on a particular thing. Lakeisha.
100%, I agree. I know sometimes you go to the doctor, right? You tell the doctor, Doc, I'm just so tired. I just feel tired all the time. And he'll go through, or he or she will go through a sequence of questions and ask you, like, well, how's your diet? How are you sleeping? Are you taking vitamins? They'll go through this list of things. And so the doctor will say, hey, change one thing at a time so we can try to figure out the source of where this tiredness is coming from. Maybe you're just not getting enough sleep at night. So let's try that for a couple weeks. Let's see if you improve your sleep and you have more energy. And if not, then we'll move to the next thing. So it's hard to identify if you've made progress or if you've had that success in your acronym, if you're working on multiple things at one time. Also, hard for your partner to recognize that you have made changes if you're only making small changes in multiple areas. Does that make sense? Like if you're only focused on this one area, then you both are focused and honed in on that area. So it's easy for them to identify when you have made adjustments and you've made changes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So guys, we want to reinforce the importance of sticking with one thing at a time and come together with your spouse and say, okay, these are my issues. Okay, this is what you say is wrong with me. And, truth be told, there's some truth to it. Which one do you think I should prioritize? Oh, this is the number one issue? Well, tell me why this is the number one. What impact has it had on our relationship that makes you feel that I should prioritize on that? Well, these are the reasons why, hon. Okay, boom, bet, I get it. All right, so I'm going to zone in on that one. And guess what? As I'm changing, as I'm working on me, here we go. I'm not going to do it in the dark. I'm going to do it in the light, because a lot of times as spouses, we say, I'm working on me. I'm doing my thing. You worry about you. Let me worry about me. And I get it. Because you don't want people all up in your stuff. So what you doing? Well, what you doing, right? We don't want that. But as we're going through change and transformation, it would be a good idea to share ahas with your spouse. Wow, I got this revelation. I just wanted to share it with you. Because as you're reading and as you're learning, people say, oh my God, that was so life-changing. No, it wasn't. It shifted your perspective. It gave you new insight. But when you begin to implement and apply what you're learning, then it becomes life-changing. But inviting your spouse into your process gives them hope and belief for the future. Hey, babe, I was reading this today and it said something amazing and it really made me think a different way. I'm so ready and excited to do these things. And as my life partner, hey, how about you become my accountability partner too? I want you to remind me of when I'm slipping because I want to be on point. So I'm doing this for the right reasons, and we'll get into that in a second. And I don't mind if you give me some input, some encouragement, some cheerleading, rah, shish kumbaya, whatever the term is, to help me on my journey. Okay.
You know what? You said something when you were going through the complaints that the husbands have, right? Mm-hmm. And one of those complaints was about not getting appreciation for the things that they were doing, and also not getting acknowledgement. So we can shift that on both sides, right? If, again, going back to why it's important to focus on that one thing and not do it in the dark. I love that you said that. Do it in the light, because in that way I'm able to see it, you're able to see it, and I can give you that appreciation. I can give you your props and give you your kudos. Man, I noticed that you're really working hard on XYZ. And I see it and I notice it, and I appreciate all the hard work and effort that you're making to try to improve yourself, not only for you, but for us.
Yeah, and that's so important. You know why? Because a lot of times spouses get frustrated. They're ready to throw in the towel, call it quits, just give up, because they're not seeing anything different.
Right.
I heard what you said. I heard about your promises and what you were going to do, but I'm not seeing nothing. So invite them into your journey, and it will tremendously work. Listen, guys, you're listening to the Couples Academy show. What we're going to do is we're going to go to a quick break and be right back. Stay with us as we continue this conversation. Boom. That's right, guys. You're watching the Couples Academy show. We are so honored and privileged and on top of the world this morning because we have Lakeisha Hines joining us, who is amazing, and her insight is so just like, oh my God, mind-blowing. And to have her to be a part of this conversation is awesome. We're talking about from partner complaints to permanent change. Let's go to number 2. You have to identify your why for your change. Why do you want to change? Why is it that you want to do it? And the reason why this is important is because if you don't have a strong why for changing, the how to change will seem impossible. Like, well, I got to do that. See, if you have a strong why, the how, number one, doesn't matter. You're willing to do whatever it takes because your why, you're anchored and soaked and saturated in a why. But the other thing is, I think a lot of times, I don't know about women, but as men, we have the wrong motive for change. Like the motivation, as we said, men are motivated by the fear of loss. So when they fear they may lose, I'll do whatever I need to do to change because I'm trying to what? Keep you. I want to keep the marriage. I want to make you happy. So my internal transformation, my focus for my internal transformation is you. That's not sustainable. That's not long lasting. What if I feel tired of you, frustrated with you, don't want to be bothered with you? I'm not talking about leaving the marriage, but you just get on my first and my last nerves. You make me sick. I'm not motivated anymore. So now I'm going to go back to my old patterns, my own ways, do my own things. And because I was doing it for the wrong reason, it wasn't about me becoming the best version of myself for myself, of which you benefit from. And that's why your why is so important. What are your thoughts on that, Lakeisha?
I mean, 100%. I agree with that. And I think for a lot of women, it's fear also. I think it's fear of something different, though. I think it can be fear of loss, but I think oftentimes with women, it's fear of you cheating. It's fear of you finding someone else, you finding somebody else that will do what you do. And as women, a lot of times we're taught that. Society teaches us that, right? I even have people in my own family tell me, like, girl, if you don't do this or you don't do that, he's gonna find somebody who will. There's always another woman who's willing to do what you won't do, this and that. So, like, a lot of times I think it's fear of them cheating and them doing, doing something different. Also, it can be that, as women, we have so much pressure on us to be perfect, to look perfect, to talk perfect, to act perfect, to dress perfect. And so a lot of times I think it's that pressure that causes actually insecurities. And then we're trying to change because we're insecure about something, which that also is not sustainable. You want to change for the right reasons. You're changing because you want to be better first and foremost.
Yeah.
And obviously me working on me is only going to benefit my relationship.
Absolutely. That's the key. It's just like, listen, you get on a plane, they say, listen, in case there's a loss of cabin pressure, take the mask, put it on yourself first, and then help and assist others. So you got to focus on becoming your best self. You are the lowest common denominator in your relationship. So if you want to help your relationship, you got to look inwardly at you and begin to make those necessary changes. Let's go to number 3.
Well, I wanted to tell you too, sometimes, right, it is a situation where you will not, like you said, like that person, but you still have to show up the right way. You still have to do the work. You still have to do what you know is right, regardless of how that person is showing up, how they're acting, and how they're behaving.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Agreed. Number 3, understand how the behavior serves you. Now, let's pause there for a second. Because the things that your spouse has been complaining about, we're talking about the behaviors that you do that don't serve you, don't serve the marriage, don't serve anyone. However, it actually does. Maybe it does serve you. Maybe refusing to communicate serves you because you fear, if I open up, I'm going to be attacked. I'm going to be judged. It serves you because you don't want to step outside of your comfort zone. We were talking about this offline. Hey, why do people eat emotionally? Why, I binge at night because I'm stressed. And so it gives me a sense of comfort and relief. That's how it serves me. So though my behavior may not be good, there is a way that it serves or benefits me, even if it's not something good for me. I do it because of thus and so. And I think it's important to become consciously aware of why we do what we do and how it's benefiting us, because that is the beginning of the growth process to then be able to properly assess and say, okay, good. The way that this is serving me, will this have a long-term positive impact on me in the relationship, or will it work against what I ultimately want? And understanding and unpacking the why and the unconscious benefits that you get from something will help you to become more conscious and intentional in doing the right way, doing the right thing. Because when you make a change, whatever that change is, you can figure out the benefits of how it can serve you and the marriage and your life and your future. What do you think, Lakeisha?
Absolutely. And, it affects the other person. So you're saying that, how does the behavior actually serve you? But understand that if it's serving you in a positive or negative way, there is impact on your spouse. So you not taking care of yourself means that you're not healthy. You're not healthy means that you're not showing up as your best self. That in the example that you gave of the emotional eating, you eating late at night. Okay, well, that affects your sleep. You wake up the next morning, you are irritable, you're tired, you're cranky, and now you're snapping and popping off at your partner because you didn't get a good night's sleep. In that moment, it was good. You felt good. You got that comfort. But then look at the effect the next day, the next morning, and how that affects you. And if you have children, you better get a good night's sleep because you got to have energy for those jokers, right? So it does affect your spouse as well. So understanding that you're getting some type of benefit. It's just, is it positive or is it negative?
That's absolutely right, guys. I hope that you're hearing this. We got a couple more. We're going to go deeper into this conversation, but we're going to take a quick break. Listen, you're watching the Couples Academy show. Hope you're getting something out of it. We'll be right back in just a second.
If you're a man and you have a pulse, then you need to join this program. You're a husband, you're a father, you're a leader. You have the weight of the world on your shoulders. You have to be everything for everyone, but do you know who and how to be for you? You're still in search of your own significance. You're in internal battle with your own vices. You're questioning, do I even know what it means to be a man? I know I'm supposed to be there for others, but what about me? The fact is, you need a model. You need a code to live by, a system of principles to govern your life. You need an internal compass to guide your every decision. You need the 4 securities to build your own kingdom. What you need is the foundry. In short, a foundry is a facility where castings are produced by melting metal, pouring liquid metal into a mold, and then allowing it to solidify. Well, this is where we're testing the metal of men. Foundry is a 12-week men's-only coaching program. It is a brotherhood that will take each man through a purification process of the heart, mind, and soul. We here at Couples Academy promise you that if you give us 12 weeks of your life, you will no longer recognize it. If you care about the improving of your life, your marriage, and your family, register today.
That's right, guys. You're watching the Couples Academy show. We're talking about from partner complaints to permanent changes. Lots of comments here this morning. We're going to read through a few of them, but here's a good one. We were talking about the issue pie earlier, and they said that the issue pie was an awesome help for us. We felt some type of way at first, but we realized that we had to communicate from a more humble posture in order to demolish our slices, not each other. Oh, I like that.
Yes.
We still have some pie left, but it's definitely more palatable. I don't have my glasses, guys, so you gotta work with me. And another one I thought was really interesting. I'm working on me. My husband has noticed that I don't nag anymore. It was the number one complaint. It had chipped away some of the wall between us. It is work, but rewarding. And thank you for sharing that, because typically we're always waiting for our spouse to make all the changes. Well, what you gonna do? Well, what you gonna do? Well, I'm waiting on you. Well, when you do what you're supposed to do, then I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do.
And nobody does nothing.
There it is. Nobody gets nothing. And so I appreciate you being transparent about that. We're going to go into the next one. We have 2 more to go. Sit with the discomfort. Now, I want to pause on this, because this is speaking to when you actually make the change. When you make change, it doesn't necessarily feel good. Why? Because it's new. Because it's different. And if you don't mind, guys, Lakeisha, if you don't mind, I want to give you a taste of what we're doing in Foundry with the men. There's a particular book that we're reading, and I'm going to read a short paragraph, if you will, from it that I think is just so powerful. And it's talking about change. It's talking about making that quantum leap and becoming the best version of yourself. This is what it says. It says, as human beings, though we ordinarily go with the obvious, we fall into the habit of relying on behaviors that seem to have worked best for us over the years. When we take an approach that seems to be very serviceable and which enables us to perform well and succeed, we become attached to it. We don't readily relinquish the habit pattern. So pause. It talks about we are addicted to doing the same thing. We form habits. These habits form patterns. And oftentimes we stay stuck in these habit patterns that we think are serving us. It goes on to say, we don't readily relinquish that habit pattern. In fact, there's a tendency to follow our favorite approach more and more often, such that we get better and better at handling things that particular way. We're going somewhere. Check this out. It says the adroitness. Now, adroitness means a skill of the mind or hands. The adroitness with a certain approach results in an overdependence on the strategies and tactics that it involves. It says that we resist new maneuvers because they make us feel clumsy, awkward, and more at risk. So let's pause. The reason why we don't want to change is because it's uncomfortable. When we try something new, it is clumsy oftentimes. It feels awkward a lot of times. We're more at risk. So if I haven't opened up and I haven't been transparent and I haven't been vulnerable, that's the last thing I'm going to do because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. When we try to regain intimacy in our relationship, and the closer I get to you and the closer I get to me, I can't trust that because we haven't been there in a long time. So I rather back up, create different distance because that's comfortable. I'm familiar with that. That feels safe. So in essence, we're working against our own best interests because we don't like the way things feel. Last paragraph. But if you want to accelerate your rate of achievement rapidly, you must search out and vigorously employ new behaviors and new attitudes. You must be willing to break out of the routines in order to make the quantum leap. What I love about this, it's saying that we are addicted to the familiar. Right. Old patterns, old ways, old thoughts that keep us trapped in the very thing that we don't want. If we want a new result, we have to do something different, and it's going to feel weird, uncomfortable, inauthentic. And oftentimes we allow feelings to dictate and to determine what we do and don't do. Well, I don't feel like it, so therefore I'm not doing it. And we're slaves to a feeling. And I think that's what messes us up. So this says, sit with the discomfort. And don't look at the discomfort as something that is bad. Look at it as, maybe I'm growing and stretching because this is not familiar to me. And on the other side of this discomfort is freedom and change and transformation. Does that make sense?
Yep. 100%. 100%. And it's one of those things where I truly believe that God will allow us to go through certain seasons in our life where it's uncomfortable because he's trying to get something done in us so that he can get us to the next level. But if you abort, you jump ship before he's done doing what he needs to do, guess what's going to happen? You're going to keep circling around, and he's going to keep bringing you back to that thing until you deal with it, right? And also think about in our relationships when we're working with couples and we're talking about infidelity recovery, and how many times do couples, abort before they get to that other side? They don't go through. They're either trying to go around it or ignore it or sweep it under the rug. Let's just not talk about it, pretend like it didn't happen. But at the end of the day, until you heal that, you're never going to get the promises and the benefits, which we were talking about, until you get on the other side. But they abort before they get to the other side. So you got to sit in that discomfort, hold that mirror up in front of yourself so you can see the things that you need to be working on and see the things that you need to change, because the benefits will definitely outweigh the discomfort that you're experiencing.
You better believe it. You gotta get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes.
There it is right there. That requires boom. Patience. There it is. All right, guys, last step.
Hey.
You got to take baby steps. And I only got a few minutes left. You got to take baby steps. Rome wasn't built in a day. And sometimes people want now. They want it now. Let me just say this. Because many of you watching right now are clients, and many of you are considering becoming clients. Let me say this. there's a journey we have to take. There are specific steps that we need to go through. And oftentimes in your haste, in your impatience, in your desire to have things now, you're willing to skip over necessary steps to get to the end result. And you don't realize, listen, I don't eat these. I know you do, Lakeisha, but you can't make chitlins in a microwave.
I do not.
You eat chitlins, stop
No,
fronting.
I don't.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not judging you. But you can't make chitlins or chitterlings, as they say, in a microwave. Some things just don't work, meaning you can't have a fast, quick result to get to what you want, or you can't skip over necessary steps. And so taking baby steps simply means taking one step at a time, because every step is built upon the previous step. Does that make sense? Every session is built upon the previous session. When we go and do a last chance weekend or an intensive, we have 3 days where we're together for 10, 12 plus hours a day. Why? Because we're taking you through specific steps. So for you to start out with day 3 and then go to day 1, you're going out of order. It's just not going to work. So you've got to follow the process. You've got to trust the process, and you got to take the necessary steps. Lakeisha, bring us home.
Listen, if you decided that you wanted to run a 5K and you've never run a day in your life, you cannot train and then think you're going to get out there and survive that 5K. You are going to pass out. You have to start slowly, right? You start doing maybe half a mile or maybe even a quarter mile at a time, depending on what physical shape you're in. But you can't just jump from no running to doing a 5K. It's the same concept. You have to slowly but surely take one bite at a time, one chunk at a time, one goal at a time. Because if you set your heights too high and you don't experience that success, you're going to quit. You're going to give up. So that's why you set smaller, attainable goals so that you do experience that success, and that gives you that motivation, that encouragement to keep going and keep fighting.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much. I hope that you got something out of this particular session this morning. From partner complaints to permanent change, I want you to not focus on how your spouse needs to watch this and how they need to make change, but focus on you. It's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. Not my mother, not my father, not my sister, not my brother, not my wife, but it's me. I'm the lowest common denominator in my relationship. And so I'm going to make the necessary changes to get me where I need to be. You're watching a Couples Academy show. Enjoy your weekend. We will see you on Monday for another great series. Stay tuned. Be safe. See you then.